Morning guys, this is William with Camper Life. Today I'm going to be doing a fantastic vent install. This is actually my second one in 2 days, but I thought I would go ahead and film this one today for you. I will try to go through each step, what tools I use as I go through. Will tell you this is a pretty rough process from what I did yesterday, but I'm hoping it goes a little bit smoother today now that I've done one. Not anything very difficult or anything like that, just a lot of manual kind of physical type of labor. You got to do a lot of hand scrubbing. But you'll see what I'm talking about as I go through the video. I'll let you know some of the things I've ran into doing the first one that I'm already anticipating on the second one, kind of share that with you to let you know what you might be looking at having to do. But overall, should be a pretty good upgrade. So essentially our current fans are the ones that just more or less exhaust air out of the RV and not back into the RV. So we wanted some that were reversible, that we could flip in and out and kind of use as a smaller ceiling fan, as well as using it as an exhaust fan when needed. But with that, I will get things started, and I hope you enjoy the video. Again, if you like the channel and you like what we're bringing to you, please click the subscribe button, and also try to give it a thumbs up. It helps the video get seen as I try to build out this channel. So anyway, with all that, I guess I will start to show you some of the stuff that comes in the box as you start to do your fan. I will reach over here and grab this. So obviously the first thing they send you is the instruction booklet, which I will not lie, didn't even look at this with yesterday's install. Like I say, it's a pretty straightforward install, just a lot of manual work that goes along with it, but they do send you the instruction book. The next thing is they send you just a little bag that has several screws in it. Who inspected the item before it was sent out? It has some wire. Since I'm replacing, I've already got wires pre-installed, and there's some on the fan, so I really didn't need these connection wires. I did end up using these little, if you can see them there, the little blue tabs in there just to kind of connect the wires. That seemed to work a little bit better. And next, so this is the actual fan that I'm putting in. And it's just a fantastic fan, 1250 I think is the number. I will link to this in the video down below, so you'll be able to find it. I bought this off of Amazon. You can click through and get it off the link that I provide. It'll help support the channel and so forth as I keep rolling forward with this. But as you can see, there's the wires that I will be using, and I'll just be connecting those to the already existing wires. And this here is where you can reverse the fan to either blow in or blow out. It's got 3 speeds on it, and then the other little dial is a built-in fuse. So the one that I've got going so far is pretty nice. It's not like a true ceiling fan, but it works. It's better than what we had. And then the last piece is this, which is just the garnish that goes up into the inside of the RV. And the one thing that I have found on this in mine, and it will be different in each one, but this is a 4.5-inch piece of garnish, and it is not long enough. So I'm actually going to have to, sorry about the noise there, I'm actually going to have to order a new piece. I'll have to either get a 5 or 5.5-inch or get a 6-inch and cut it off to be where I need it to be. But I looked last night, and it does look like they make a 5-inch, so that should do it. I'm about probably a 1/4 inch short, so but we'll see. But with all that said, that's kind of what comes with it. That's all you're installing. The hardest part that I found in this process so far is removing the old fan. But once you got the old fan removed, the rest of it's pretty straightforward. But just getting the old fan out, getting all the lap seal out of the way and everything to get a good clean surface, that's obviously the hardest part. But with all that said, I will get started and walk you through the process of doing this. Again, I hope you liked the video, and if you do, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and help me get this channel going. Alright, with that, we will get started. Thank you. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to be doing is just removing this garnish from inside of the RV. So as you can see, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 screws. and essentially all you do is just unscrew it and pop it down. And I'm going to apologize, my film helper is not here this morning yet, so I will be doing this on my own. But as you can see, not much to it here. Undo your 4 screws. Get this going in here. And the one thing I will say that I was told was that there wouldn't be new screws on this, but so far I did find that there was new screws. So let me give these things another hit. They are not coming out. So there's the first screw. There's the second screw. And I'm going to try, let's see here. There's the third screw. So as you can see, this is already starting to come down as soon as I remove a few screws here. And there goes the 4th screw, and then this piece just pops out. So then you just got your inside frame. And there you can see the already existing wiring that I was talking about that we will be taking out. So, with that said, I will see you on the roof. So just to kind of show you some of the stuff I'm doing out here. So I've got a socket set here, and I've got a little 5-gallon bucket with all the tools that I'm going to need in it. I will get these laid out up here and show you everything that I'm using. May not be required for every install, but I'll explain that why when I get up here. But you know, the 5-gallon bucket is just a safer way to kind of get up the ladder. And we are doing the vent fan in the bedroom. I done the one in the living room yesterday, but today we're doing the vent fan in the bedroom, which is just right beyond the edge right there. And the little chocolate monkey blanket here, it's just so I can sit on it without getting soaked, because it is earlier in the morning, so there's still some dew out. But anyway, I'm heading up now, and we will see you on the roof here in just a few minutes. Okay, so now I'm up on the roof, sorry about that. Some of the tools that you can see that I'm using, I've got a cordless drill. I've got a little box there, and that's just to put my gump in that I'm getting ready to take off of this. I've got some mineral spirits there. That's to help clean this up. That stuff, I will tell you from just the one I did yesterday, is a lifesaver. So if you're going to do this, be sure to get that. And with all that said, I am doing my second one now. But if you can get this done, if you see a Camping World running the ad to do this for $59 or something like that, if I had it to do over again and I could get a fairly reasonable price on the fan and a fairly reasonable price on the install, I'd probably let them do it. And then, like I said, it's just because of the grit work that you'll see coming up here in a minute. But over here, I've got my seal tape. So this is what will go down on the new fan as I put it in. I've got a scraper. I've got a couple of towels here, and that's just for the mineral oil. Here you see my monkey blanket, and that is for me to sit on so I don't get soaked. I've got a screw bag here just to put my screws in, and you can also see my Campco vent cover, this thing here. You can see the little latches from my first one. I still got to put it back on my old one. I've got just a ratchet set so I can get this cover off. That's the only thing that it's used for, is to take this cover off. And then I've got my drill bits. The holes on this one did not line up with my old ones. This one's a little bit smaller, so I have to pre-drill holes. I did try a couple yesterday without pre-drilling the hole. My suggestion is don't do that. It created a lot of problems. So You know, you live and you learn. And then I've just got me a little tool set here, a little socket set or a little head set for my drill to get screws in and out easier. The screws that I took out of this thing were kind of a square head, and the screws that they give you to put back in are just regular Phillips screws, so I like that a whole lot more. But anyway, I will start getting this thing installed. So my first thing will be, I've got to pop off these 4 rivets that you see here, and essentially what that's going to do is bring this up, and I will try to get the camera set in a spot to where you can see everything I'm doing, and we will go from there. All right, let's get going. Okay, so I couldn't get a good view, or couldn't get it on my stand real good, but basically what I'm doing is I'm taking a number 11 socket and I'm just getting this hood off. Thing turned the right way, so I'm going to start working these loose. And more or less, this is, you know, eventually I'll have to pop these back on. Probably give it a week for the seal to truly harden up. Maybe next weekend I'll put these back on, but again, if you don't have these, this is not a step you will have to mess with. So now, that's pretty much all that is. I broke those free. I will get my bag of screws. And more or less, I'm just doing this so I don't lose anything. That is all I'm doing here, is I'm just undoing these screws so I can get down to start to get to the lap sealant. And I will tell you, that stuff is a mess to get off. So as you can see, that now has that side loose. So then I just come over here. So basically what I got to do at this point, I'm trying not to turn this camera upside down, but there are some little screws back in there, if you can see them, and I've got to pop them out. All right, so now I've got all the little divots out for the Camco thing, so you can see it sitting there. So now basically I've got to start working with this stuff here. And this stuff is a beast to get off, and more or less my first goal is to get these screws out. You can see where the little screws are embedded and so forth, but I've got to do that all the way around. So what my next thing to do is, more or less, is to take this scraper and just scrape it off. And you don't have to be as careful up here on this plastic part. Everybody, you know, every video I've watched says, oh, be careful, but you know, if you're on the plastic part, you're not going to do nothing. Now when you get down here on your roof, yeah, you do want to definitely be a lot more careful, and I will show some of the process to that. But you know, more or less the first step is you want to get all these screws unburied, you know, just like what I'm doing here. And more or less you just pull this stuff back until you can get to the screw. And now you can see, well, I brought my little bucket up here to catch all this stuff in, and it is sticky and it is nasty. So if you've never done it before, then you'll know. But I mean, that's pretty much it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go around and I'm going to uncover all these screws that you see. And as soon as I get them all uncovered, I will show you me pulling them out, and then what you got to do after that. And more or less, I mean, after that, you got to start working on all this. So you got to break that seal, and you got to be able to get up underneath it, because this stuff is, there's actually this tape type stuff here is underneath here as a seal, and you got to be able to break it completely to get this out. So after you got the screws out, that's holding it down. And to be honest, I don't even know if you need the screws, because from the one I did yesterday, it is very, very solid. But I'm gonna get all these undone real quick, and then I will flip it back around, show you me popping out the first few screws, what it looks like, and then we'll start cleaning this up and getting into the actual seal. Okay, so now I'll move my leg out of the way there, but you can see all the screws are exposed. And I will tell you, I left the hood vent open, and I'm out here by myself, so I don't want to go back down to close it yet, but it would be a whole lot easier with that closed. As soon as I can get somebody out here, I'll get it closed. But there's the screws, and this, so essentially I'm replacing a Max fan with a Fantastic vent. And I don't know which one's better or worse. I just got the Fantastic vent because that's the ones I've seen. But at this point, what I'm going to do, the screws that are in there are square headed. So I've got a square head bit, which is here. Let me get it down there. So that's what they look like. So I'm going to connect this to my drill, and I'm going to pull these screws out real quick. And essentially, once you get the screws out, you are able then to start working on this side lap, this kind of stuff, and scraping it up and so forth. And again, like what I'm saying, all you got to do is just get in there and clean it, get it enough to where you break the seal. What I figured out from the one I did yesterday was it's better to get the fan out and then really get into the cleanup of the work area. With the fan in there, it's almost impossible. So that's what I'm getting ready to do. I will film pulling out a couple, but I think most people know how screws come out of holes. And then I will start cleaning up the lap, and I'll show you some of what I'm doing with that, and you kind of see what it looks like now, and I'll show you what it looks like as I get started. All right, see you in a few minutes. So here's one of the first screws coming out. So you see how easy that was. And then I just got to wipe it off here with my hand. So there it is. So then just go around and do each one the same way. And that's about all there is to this part. And I did look at these screws, and it kind of looks like they use multiple screws to do this one, and this is from the factory. So, but as most people know, a lot of times with RVs, stuff can kind of be halved. I won't finish out that statement, but it can be. So, but basically, as you see, I'm just pulling up the screws. I'm going to do this all the way around for each screw. And then at that point, I will really start getting into cleaning out this seal and starting to get this main seal broke. And then from there, we will really do some cleanup, and we'll get to the hard part. So far, everything's pretty straightforward and simple, although it is extremely hot out here today. But we will see you here in just a few minutes. Okay, so as you can see now, all the screws are out all the way around. And now I'm going to start doing this lap seal. And this is the part yesterday that took so long. We're starting trying to break the seal, and then once you actually can lift the fan out, then you got to really get the area clean for the next seal. I will film as much of this as I can with my limited hands, but I will show you me breaking some of this stuff up and so forth.
that right there will get you started. I'm going to get some of this done with both of my hands because it's easier to do with two. But as soon as I get a good section done, I'll bring you back and show you. And like I say, the biggest thing you're trying to do is just get underneath that sill right there and be able to get underneath it and lift this out without damaging this part, your actual roof. So, but it's not too bad, and it's pretty straightforward once you get going into it. All right, we'll see you in a few minutes. So now you see I've kind of got it, the top layer trimmed off all the way around, and you can start to see some of the edges there. And what I found was the best thing to do to kind of start at a corner, and I take a hammer and I tap in the edge, and I do that all the way around. Sorry if you hear the air conditioner kicking on there, but I'll do that all the way around and more or less use that to break the seal of this thing. And essentially, if I can get to the hammer here, I'm sorry I had to get me a pillow there, it was hurting the knees. But so you see how that's going in. And then you just, this little piece, that's a little bent for the back of the scraper here, but just kind of bend it up, make sure it has some flexibility in it, and then move up to the next little spot. Move my gunk out of the way here, and move up to the next little spot. And just lift up on it again. And as you can see now, a lot of that seal is starting to break, and then you just keep working your way around it. And like I say, it's a time process, but this is the quickest and easiest way I found to do it. I'm not saying that it's easy by any stretch. So I'm going to continue to work my way all the way around, kind of break this loose, and here in a few minutes I will hopefully be able to show you me pulling this out. All right, I'll be back. Now, I've gone all the way around the edges with my little scraper tool and kind of drove in, took the hammer and, like I say, kind of drove it in like that and just pulled up on it the whole way. So, I think for the most part, I have the seal broke, and now it's just kind of working it. So I kind of got my fingers under here, as you can see. And now it's just kind of working it back, and then I'll have to go through and find the spots where it's kind of still sticking and take the scraper tool and the hammer and do the same thing and break it away until this thing is about ready to come up, and then you can kind of pull it up. And the reason you want to take your time doing this is you do not want to damage your roof part, and it does kind of get flimsy along the edges right here because it's cut. So, you know, the biggest thing about this is just take your time and don't get in a rush with it. It's hot, sweaty work if you're a hot day, and I will say you do want to do this on a hot day because it helps the lap sealant seal the once you got to put the old one or the new one back in. But you know, just like I say, just take your time. You know, as you can see here, it's close. So somewhere down through here, it's still grabbing. It looks like maybe back here in this corner, it's still grabbing just a little bit. And well, let's see, maybe she's ready to come up right now. So you can see it's starting to give even more, but there's definitely a few places here. I feel it right there where it's grabbing. So I'm going to take the chisel or the scraper and the hammer and keep working away at it and get the rest of this up. But you know, just kind of wanted to show you where I was at and what it was doing, and you know that it is definitely a process to get these off. So with that, we'll see you here in a few minutes as I get ready to pull this thing up. All right, I think we've about got her to come up, and you can kind of see what's grabbing it. It's this seal around the edge, but as you can see, it's now up and out, and I have got it flipped over, and now you can see down into the RV. But now comes the hard part. Now you've got to start cleaning off this whole edge, and again, this is just slow and tedious scraping to get it done. But once you get it done, if you get it done right, it's going to make the installation of your other one a whole lot easier. I'm going to disconnect these lines, and I'm going to take me a break for a few minutes, and then I will be back to start cleaning this up. So one more thing I'll leave you here with is the wires. So this is the main wires here that are actually running the current fan, and these are the wires off of the old fan. So before I can completely disconnect these, I have to cut these two wires, and for now I'm just going to cut them off clean so they don't touch or nothing like that, and just so I can get this fan out of the way. But I did want to show you that it's better just to go ahead and cut these off clean for now, and at the end of the process you can actually hook these up on the inside with the new fan, so it's not too big of a deal. And like I say, there's plenty of line here. You really don't need all this, but more or less I just wanted to kind of show you what my next step was. So I'm going to disconnect this fan, I'm going to cut these wires, and just take this thing and toss it off to the side, and pretty much then I'll start cleaning this up, and I will show you some of my process for cleaning it up, what I used to get it better, which, like I say, a lot of it is just elbow grease, but you do definitely want to get the entire area. You want to get all this lap up, or it can mess up your seal on your next lap. So but anyway, I'm going to cut these wires with my wire cutters, and then I will be taking my break I was talking about, and then I will be back to start cleaning this up and getting everything set up for the new fan. All right, I'm now back from my break. So as you can see, we now have the vent completely out, and I am going to start cleaning this up. And essentially, I'm just going to use this tool, and I'm going to use this mineral spirits, and I will tell you, as you get down closer to the end of this helps out a ton, so I definitely recommend using this. And I will of course put a link to all this stuff on the video as well, so you'll know what to get. And then I've got my box that I've emptied out now for the rest of this residue, and then I've got my rag, and this is just an old car cleaning rag that I throw the cleaner on and use that to clean all this area up. So I'm going to start scraping this off, and when I get to the end, I will kind of show you what the final result looks like, and I'll also kind of click back in and show you when I start using more of the spring mineral spirit stuff to help break it up. But anyway, just showing you where I'm back from break, and then I'm getting ready to get this part started, and I will show you the final result. See you in a little bit. Now I've pretty much got all the heavy stuff off. I'll try to zoom in here. You can see a little bit of stuff, but all that'll be gone in a few minutes. So now what my goal is I'm going to start with the mineral spirits and just start scrubbing this stuff, and kind of scrubbing and scraping at the same time, and that way it comes up a little bit quicker. The mineral spirits, to me, is a definite need. So, and as you can see right here, I did rip up a little bit of the felt paper, or it was already ripped up a little bit, I should say, but I just tore it off. That'll be sealed back up, so I'm not too awful worried about it. But anyway, so now I'm going to start with the mineral spirits, and essentially all that is I take this yellow rag, and again I take my mineral spirits, and on there it says odorless, but I think it has a smell to it. So then I'm going to open this guy up, and I want to fold this rag up a little bit better. So take a little bit and more or less just throw it on there. Nothing too dramatic about that. And then just start wiping away. And as you can already see, it breaks it up real quick. So like I say, when you get down towards the end of this, it's just pure elbow grease and getting it done. But I will continue to wipe here, and you know, I wipe for a few minutes and then I throw some more stuff on it, and then I wipe some more and throw some more stuff on it. That's kind of the process that I have seen that this works best with, so to keep it fresh. But I will get this good and cleaned up and show you where we're at. All right, we'll see you here as soon as I get this done. All right, I figured I'd show you a little trick here. So as you can see, I've got the first two sides cleaned real good. And as you can see, these sides are still dirty. So one of the things I will say is to continuously wet your cloth with this, your rag cloth, whatever you're using. Be generous, you know, don't worry about using too much. You know, one little bottle will definitely get you through 2 or 3 fans. And then what I do is I just start wiping, as you see right here. And I'm sorry for the camera movement of this, but I wanted to show you this. So as you see, it starts breaking it down real quick and easy as compared to that. It kind of puts it into a paste. Then I take my scraper and just kind of run through it, you know, just enough to kind of break it up a little bit. And then from there, I'll come back and start wiping it up again. What I have found is that helps a whole lot with breaking it down. But I wanted to show that little trick that, you know, I'm not just wiping it all with pure arm grease. I am still scraping it some as well. And that, you know, that helps to get it up just a little bit quicker. But as you can see, these two sides are done. They look really good. And I'm going to go ahead and finish this side up and finish this side up. And with this mineral spring, it is going a whole lot faster. So I highly recommend that to any, or mineral spirits, I'm sorry, to anybody who's going to be doing this. It makes the job a whole lot simpler. So either way, just wanted to share that little tip as I'm going through the process of cleaning this up. And as soon as I get this done and cleaned up, I will show you the completed area. Then we will drop the fan in and test it and make sure everything's going to work good. All right, see y'all in a minute. All right, and there you have it. A perfectly cleaned spot to set in the new vent fan. And it took me to do both about, well, I'm not sure you can see it real good there, but it took me about half of this bottle of mineral spirits to really get that good and clean. But now I'm going to go in and take another break because it is still extremely hot out here. And the next step will be dropping in the new fan to test and make sure it works. And I can do all that from underneath. So as soon as I get that ready, I will click back in and y'all can watch. All right, now we're ready to test the ceiling fan. So the first thing I'm going to do is pull off this plastic covering on top. And eventually, like I say, the end process of this, these will all be covered up with my Max Air vent fans or whatever Camco vent fans that I have. So, but with the lap ceiling, I figured I wanted to give it a week or two to dry, probably closer to a week. But toss that over there. So now, what I'm going to do is take this, go into the bed, and you can see where some of my mess has come through here. So now there's the hole. And to make sure I got this right, I want the lid to go backwards. So I think it should be this way. I'm going to open it. Nope, it needs to go this way. Okay. So now I've got that turned around the right way. If you put this in diagonal, it'll go up the hole. So I put it in like this or like that, from that way to that way to get the max room. And then, like I say, all we're doing right now is testing, so we're not going to get too crazy about this. But That has the fan down in here. And I need to pull the black wire through. Alright. So, all I'm going to do now as I turn this camera off is I'm going to hook these two wires up to, I can get them in the same screenshot here, these two wires. And from there, I will turn the camera back on and we will test this out. Alright, now we've temporarily got the wires hooked up and I've got the roof vent cover opened. So now we will turn this bad boy on, see if it works. There we go. It is a 3-speed, so I will turn it on up. That is the sucking air outside. So now I will turn it off. And I don't know that it matters, but just for simplicity's sake, I'll let it come to a complete stop. Which it is just about to do. And then as soon as it does it, I'm going to reach up here and flip this thing backwards and make sure I can feel air coming out the other way and everything's working good. So that's off. So here we go. I definitely do feel air coming in. This will be great on a cool night, having the cold air blowing in on it, kind of like a ceiling fan. A little loud, but not too awful bad. And once I get the garnish and stuff up, I think I will have some of the same. But overall, I like it. Very happy with it. So now I'll turn this off. And I'm going to disconnect these and tape them off so nothing touches. So I will do that, and then I will go back up on the roof and lay down the seal, the tape seal that I will show you. Alright, now we're on to putting on the last little piece to seal down the fan, and that'll be the tape, which is this stuff. And I will put a link to that in the video down below. But basically what it does is create a border seal. So all you want to do is put a strip here, 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 and then you set your fan down on top of it. And once the fan is on top of it and set down, it pretty much is sealed in place. So you kind of have to get it right the first time. But other than that, after that, you just drill your holes, and I'll show you drilling a few of them so you can see it. And then you put your screws in and you're in good shape. So I will follow back up as soon as I get the lap seal on and show you what this looks like. Okay, so now I've got the lap seal on. As you can see here, it's just a little tape. As soon as I pull the back piece of this tape off and set the fan down, the fan will be put into place. And I'll show you pulling one off here. And it is a little bit tricky to get off, but you pull it like so. Try not to rip it like I just did. And just work it off slowly. And for me, where it's so hot out here today, the stuff is already kind of melting and sticking at the same time. But so you get that off, throw it over there, kind of pat this piece down. You want it to be as good as possible. But that's about it. I'm going to peel off the rest of these and then we will set the fan in place. Alright, so now I have the fan down. I've started drilling a few of the holes here. If your holes line up the same as before, you won't have any problem. But for me, it's a different fan. Not that I have any problem with either one, but basically, drill down enough. Drill down the right way. I break the surface, pull back out, and repeat. More or less all I'm doing is drilling pilot holes at this point. So that's that. And then I'll put the screws in Then we'll put the lap seal on, and then this will be completed. I'll be back inside doing the wiring, and that'll be it, and I will show you that part. All right, guys, there we have a fully from the top installed fan. Sorry for the wind, it's kind of picking up out here a little bit. I'm glad for the breeze though. So the last thing you got to do is this right here. So just the little seal piece that comes out when you put that tape down, you kind of want to clean it up, and after that you are ready to put your lap sealing on. And I will film my wife doing that. She's actually a lot better at it than I am, so I'm going to let her do it. But I'm going to get this last little bit cleaned up and ready for her, and then let her take over. So the last process here is just to fill in the screw holes and then to build a bead around the edge. And this is self-leveling lap, so it ends up taking care of itself for the most part, but she does a really good job laying this stuff, so I got her up here to do it, even though she don't like it up here. But this is the last outside step, so you kind of solid up the outside piece, the outside seal, and then you are pretty much done outside. You go inside, and like I say, eventually I will be putting my roof vent covers back on, and hopefully here soon we can get my wife in the video. She's a lot prettier than me, so we'll give you something better to look at than my ugly mug. But you know, this is kind of the last step of the process. We'll let this lap sealant set on here and harden up and stuff, and make sure everything's good to go with it and all the screw holes are sealed. And like I said, eventually I will get my Camco roof vent covers back on here, hopefully next weekend after all this stuff is set up and solid. But I will go back down and do the wiring next, and pretty much that will have this project complete. So I will see y'all back on the inside of the RV. All right, guys, so here's kind of the final steps. I've kind of went ahead and got the wires clamped together, tied together, and put some black tape around them just to make sure. Open this up, and I've already tested it, but just so you can see that it is working. So there you go. Of course, it's so hot outside, it's blowing in hot air. I say it's up in the 90s here today right now. Mid to upper 90s, I would have to imagine. But I'm going to close this back down. And now that I've got this in here, essentially all I got to do is push these wires back up in here, kind of hide them, tuck them away, get them looking good. Here's the clamps that I use. So just feed one wire on each side and clamp it down with these clampers, and then just black electrical tape. So nothing fancy there. But that's pretty much it. The last piece that I will show you, just so I can show you an example, and I will actually show you on the one that I did yesterday, since I've already kind of got the wires cleaned up. So here is the garnishing, and this is a 4.5 inch garnishing, and I apologize for the air conditioner sound. But this is a 4.5 inch garnishing, and really I need a 5. So when I go to put this up in here, just to give you an example, as you can see, it don't go flush into the little crack right there like it's supposed to. So I've got some 5 inch garnishings that I'm getting ready to order, and then I will just pop them back in there and be done with it. And that'll actually have this job completely done and over, except for putting back on the Camco roof vents, which I will do next week. But like I say, for the most part, that has the job done, other than me cleaning up that wire. And I will finish up the video here in just a few minutes with a few final comments about this job, and let you know my thoughts on it and how I like it and so forth. And we will go from there. Alright, so I will leave you with this. The job is all done. I'm going to put all this together to try to show it. It was technically it was very easy. That part's very easy, but physically this is probably one of the hardest upgrades that I've done so far. Just with all the scrubbing and scraping and trying to get it right and everything, that part took a lot of time. So
as I stated kind of in the start, I'd done one yesterday. This was my second one. The job and total task of start to finish took me about 3.5 hours for each fan. Of course, I took a lot of breaks in between that, and here, like I say, it's 90 plus degrees. You're on top of the roof. I advise everybody to take breaks when you're doing this. Stay hydrated, and just if you need a break, if you need to take a break every 30 minutes, do it. It can be very dangerous. For me, I don't have any appetite today. I know I'm sunburnt and even had sunblock on, but there's just so much sun going through. But all that being said, it's done. It was a technically hard job, and as I stated, if it was me and I knew this going into it, sorry, got something there on me, but I probably wish now that I would have bought the stuff from somewhere and had them install it, just because they could have done it inside, probably had better tools to do it with. I kind of pieced it together to get it done, but it was very, like I say, technically very easy. The total cost of the fans was probably around $450. I did catch them on sale. That was for both fans. I went from MaxxAir fans to Fantastic Vent fans, and again, that is no knock on MaxxAir fans or no perk for Fantastic Vent fans. It's just that was the best deal I could find for what I was looking for at that point in time. The only thing I've got left to do is the garnishing. So I do have to get the scent that comes with it. It's 4.5 inch garnishing. I need 5 inch garnishing in order to get it completely up in there the way that it needs to be and kind of tied off. So that's the last piece that I got going. And then also I do have to come back and put the Camco covers on the top. I definitely want that done again. So that was very helpful on the last ones, will be very helpful on this ones. One of the things that I see that I do not like about these fans is you have to have the roof vent open in order for the fans to turn on. So if you just want to try to circulate, say you got your air conditioning going and you want to try to circulate the air in here, that might be hard to do. But I have already seen that there's just one little wire. I think you can disconnect it and it will be fine. So I'll probably be doing that here very soon, because a lot of times I want it to circulate the air that's in here, not necessarily pull in hot air from outside. Maybe at night pull in the air from outside, but through the day, if I'm running AC, I want that air to stay in. Trying to think of anything else. The tools, I showed a pretty good demonstration of the tools that I use to get this done. It's fairly basic tools. Make sure you got a good scraper. Make sure you got good lap seal, a good, at least 2 tubes, probably even 3 to be safe. I was able to get it in 2 tubes, but I probably will come back in a week or 2 and brush it up again, or I'll let my wife do it. Again, she's a lot better with that than I am, so one of those things. Other than that, it's done. I'm happy with it. I think they look good. And it was a fairly straightforward install, just with all the scrubbing and stuff. I'll tell you, my body is very sore from the one yesterday and then back up there today. And my only other thing, if you're a DIYer, by all means, knock it out. Anybody could do this. It's just taking the time and effort to get it done and get it done right. But if you're somebody who's on the fence about it and you can get it done for $50 to $100 per fan, it's probably well worth just letting somebody else do it too. So that's it. That's all I have for this video. I ask you again to please subscribe. Click the thumbs up if you like what you're seeing. If you have any questions on this process, please feel free to reach out if there's something I missed or something, or if I didn't give enough detail on something. If you want to comment below, I will respond back as soon as possible. Hope I didn't miss much. I know it was kind of in and out with me being the one filming and doing the work. So, but I think for the most part we touched the bases on everything. But again, if there's any questions, obviously you can reach out to me and I will respond back and help out as much as I can to help you get it done. But with that said, I think that's all for this video. I appreciate it and look forward to the next video coming up hopefully very soon. Thank you.